Hello, friends, and happy Friday. Yes, it is Friday, so we can at least be happy about that. If you did not notice, and shame on you, but we have actually recently drastically changed the opening song, opening theme, opening blah, 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 blah. So it is streamlined. So by now, you should know that you are watching the Daily Dirty 30 here on The Kevin Lee Show. And of course, I am your host, Kevin. Beyond that, we do this little show Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, mostly, usually. Wednesdays we take off to do another show, and on Saturdays I do another show, and Sundays can be a different show, and sometimes we even add a different show on beyond all that. So there you go. But anyways, happy Friday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great day and had a great week. I don't know if it's true for everyone, but I hope you did. I know I had a week. Yeah, I've been having a lot of those weeks lately. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. They're not bad weeks. They're just weeks. Like, I don't look back and go, oh, it was a terrible week. Not at all. But I don't look back and go, oh, I was such a good week. But that being said, it wasn't a bad week. So I will not complain. But what I will complain about is, I think, the first topic we're going to talk about. 18 days, my friends. It's just 18 more fucking days to go. And if I have to tell you 18 days to what, then you probably, well, first off, either A, you're in a coma, B, you're insane, or C, you're just so delusional that, you know, you've lost your mind and you're just trying to cope with life, right? And in that case, maybe it's not such a bad thing, right? But I'm just kidding. 18 more days to the election. And actually, it's like 17 days and X amount of hours, however you want to look at it. But basically 18 more days. Yeah, so it's not a bad thing necessarily that we have 18 more days. It's not necessarily a good thing either. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know there's some bad thing coming, but you got a couple months or a few months off, and then those few months become a couple months, but yeah, you still got a couple months off, and then it's a month, and then it's a matter of weeks, and then it's a matter of days, and it's like you start dreading it the closer you get. And the reason why I say that is because no matter what happens, it's not going to be a good thing for anybody. It's just not. Like, if you're voting for Biden and he wins, you're going to be ecstatic for at least a day, maybe a week, and then other things will happen and it'll upset you, right? It's all the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. Now, beyond that, if Trump wins, those people will be happy, but then depending upon who else wins or who else gets in office, people are going to be miserable. I mean, there's so many what ifs. There's so many scenarios. There's so many unknown possibilities that could happen with this. Like, again, like we've talked about 1,000 times before. That's an exaggeration, so I'm allowed to use it. It's called hyperbole. But what could happen is Trump could win and Democrats could take over the Senate, and then they're going to impeach him anyways. Trump could lose, but then the Senate wins and Biden never gets anything accomplished. So there's that, right? Or if you are a Democrat or a liberal or whatever, and you're polling for your side and they take everything, then maybe they get some stuff passed, but then maybe the Supreme Court shuts it down because it's unconstitutional. So there's a lot of what ifs. And speaking of that, just for giggles, I found this little thing that someone went out and did the electoral map and showed how it could technically be a tie. But then when that was revealed, someone else said, oh, no, but if there is a tie, this is how it's broken. And it's actually broken in the House. So then a bunch of people on the left were happy. But then I looked and actually read the rules, and it's not the House who decides, not the members. It's that each state's delegates form what's called en bloc, and they get one vote per state. Well, there's a lot of Democrats in the House, right? But the problem is there's a lot of Democrats in the same states. Like in California, out of 55 delegates, 48 of them are Democratic. And, a majority in New York, a majority in Illinois. So those three states alone take up like a third of all the Democrats. So obviously, or not a third, maybe 20%. But you see what I'm getting at. There's not a lot of states that are necessarily going to win. So even then, the Republicans still might win. So, oh my God. Like, there is just so much nonsense. And not only that, I just heard a statistic, and that was this morning, so I'm sure it's changed quite a bit by now because, many states added early voting starting today. But before today, or at the start of today, however you want to look at it, In the United States, over 20 million people had already cast their votes. Now, normally we only get about 120 million people, period. So if we get, and that's not even like mail-in votes, that's just early voting. Oh my God, I'm losing my stuffs. I'm losing my, if you're watching this right now, you are not tripping. That is just my camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fix that right quick. So I hope you're not on acid, because if you are, then you're totally screwed. And if you're listening to this, you're lucky. Okay, so you can probably still hear me, which is a good thing. But the camera got totally messed up again. I've had so many problems. In theory, it's fixed. So if you're listening to the podcast, you could hear me the whole time. If you were watching the podcast, you couldn't. So for those of you watching, I apologize. I've been having so many problems with this stupid computer. And again, PCs aren't bad, but this one is just, I think it's kind of past its prime. It's past its expiration date. And I think it's time we move on. And I'll have to save up somehow and get a real computer. But yeah, well, I mean, it's not even that. A lot of the components in this computer are good. But apparently all the USB buses are just terrible and abused and gone and wrong and everything else. So be it. But yeah, now that we've gone over that and we've talked a little bit about what was 18 more days until, I don't know. That's the thing that oh my God, so many people are excited, right, about the election. They think that their guy is going to win in a landslide. Everyone's like, well, Biden's going to win by 15%. It's going to be one of the biggest lopsided victories in our lifetime. And that could happen. I absolutely could. Nothing would surprise me. I also wouldn't be surprised if Trump wins re-election. Not in the slightest bit. Yeah, I mean, and if I'm being completely honest here, I've been pretty good about picking winners and losers when it comes to any election, for that matter, not even just the presidency, but any election. And needless to say, this one's fucked up. I mean, there is no way to predict what's going on because we don't know. See, everyone's like, well, the polls say this, the polls say this. Well, you do realize the polls mean nothing, right? I've never trusted a poll in my life. I never have, because polls are never good. Most polls never, ever, and these are national polls, ever have more than 1,100 participants. 1,100 participants out of anywhere between 120 to 150 million voters. Everyone's like, well, you just apply. No, you don't apply anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. Okay. I enjoy statistics. I enjoy numbers. And I believe that you can make good arguments based on them. Polling is not one of them, right? Almost nobody's honest with a poll. And when they are, and they're being too eager, you know that they're one of those insane people, regardless if they're for the left or for the right. It doesn't matter, right? So most people, like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, a lot of the polls were wrong in 2016 because a lot of people who were going to vote for Trump were concerned that people would find out that they were voting for Trump, so they lied about it, right? And people have openly admitted, like, there's literally thousands upon thousands of people who confessed after the election, like, yeah, I was polled and I totally lied about it. I mean, you can find testimony after testimony on the internet, especially on Twitter. So if you think people were willing to lie back in 2016, now in 2020, any motherfucker voting for Trump is going to lie. Like, the fact that he is more than 1% surprises the hell out of me, to be honest with you. But anyways, moving forward, let's get to the next topic at hand before we run out of time. And that would be last night's town halls. Oh my God, they were ridiculously bad. Both of them. And for the exact opposite reason. So Trump's was on between 7 and 8, and Biden's was on from 7 to 9. Everyone's like, well, Biden was on longer. No, he's just slower. So that's why he was on for 2 hours. But again, I did watch both of them, and they were both terribly bad. So Trump's was bad because he was supposed to be participating in a town hall. Now, I don't know if you know what a town hall is, but a town hall is not a debate. Town hall is not where you get attacked. Town hall is where people, regular people, get to come in and ask you questions and say, hey, I'm citizen, average Joe, and I'm concerned about XYZ, and what are you going to do about it? How are you going to attack this, right? That's what they do. That's what a town hall is. Town halls are held all the time, usually not just for elections, but for, representatives who go back to their district, when they're not in session. And they'll hold town halls so they can meet with their constituents and find out what's on their minds and what their concerns are, right? Something that's been done in this country for hundreds of years. That was not a town hall, right? What Biden participated in was basically a town hall. Trump was being interviewed and or attacked, depending upon how you want to look at it. Now, I have nothing against Savannah Guthrie. I don't know her that well. I mean, I know of her. I've seen her over the years here and there. But if you watch that for even 2 minutes, just watch her talk. Watch how her jaw clenched and her eyes just squinted because she was just so full of anger. The woman should not have been on that stage. She should not have even been allowed there. Shame on NBC for putting up there. She was completely. She should have been disqualified from doing this. Even I mean, I don't care if they would have waited, and after like 30 seconds, like called a timeout, pulled her aside, and just replaced her with anybody else. That would have been fine. The whole point of a town hall is to let the candidates speak, to let them talk about what they have to talk about, as well as let them answer some questions from quote unquote average Joes. Now, of course, that's never the way it is, because as you can see, whenever you watch a town hall, someone walks up and all of a sudden they have an index card and they read the question off verbatim. Partially they do that because people get nervous, obviously, but they also do it because sometimes those people are being fed those questions. And that's usually the case for the Democrats. Now you can say, oh, that's not true. Republicans do it too. Nah, Republicans don't fucking care. I mean, I'm not a fan of Republicans, but most of them don't put that much thought or effort into these things, right? They just show up, answer the questions, and go home. And pretty much hope that they did well. That's what the Republicans usually do. But the Democrats got smart a number of years ago and actually started doing it. And they've confessed about it. They've been caught doing it, and they confessed that what they do is they pick certain people, they interview them, they find out kind of what they want to talk about, and then they basically write a question for them and give them an index card and say, here you go. And again, it's not a terrible thing, because I mean, again, usually it's because it's an idea that they want to kind of talk about anyway, so it's not like they're completely stretching the truth. But just let the people ask a question. That's all you have to do. It's really not that hard. But it's really dishonest when you don't do that. So they were terribly bad, because the reason why the left was just as bad is because nothing got accomplished. Stephanopoulos asked a couple of questions that were, I don't want to say that they were pressing, because they weren't, not even the slightest bit. They were still underhand softball, slow pitch. But it was just disappointing. Like, right, everything that's going on with Hunter Biden, that's Joe Biden's son. There's a lot of potential controversy going on, a lot of things that could really screw something up for a quote unquote president-elect. I might have to step down depending upon it. It's disheartening that he wouldn't even pose the question. Now, again, I understand not pressing the issue, but you pose the question and you let him decide how he wants to answer. Does he admit there could be some truth to it? Obviously, he's not going to do that. Is he going to deny it? He would have to if he was asked, right? I mean, really, if anyone worth their weight who is doing any questioning asks a question, you never let them off the hook. You say, just give me a simple answer, yes or no. And you keep following up, and you don't let it go. You just don't. That's what a journalist is supposed to do. That's part of their job. And that's, and again, during a town hall, it shouldn't necessarily be that way. But considering, he was willing to ask questions, he should ask the most pressing question in the world right now, in America, not the world, but in America, right? He should be willing to press that question. He wasn't, and it's sad. It's just sad. And I'm kind of embarrassed for him. And even the only thing he did press Biden about was, is he planning on packing the courts? And even then he says, well, I'm not going to answer that question. And then he gave the whole bullshit answer he's been giving. And then even when he got pressed a little bit, Biden still basically said, like, well, I'll say something before the election. Well, 80% of people are going to vote before the election, so it won't matter anyways. So, Biden's a bastard. Stephanopoulos is a bastard. Trump's an idiot. I mean, God, I watched that train wreck. I mean, it's one thing for the interviewer to be attacking him the way she was. That was bad enough. But he could have easily handled any of those questions, and he should have. He should have turned them right back on her. He should have called her out on it. He should have, put her in, check her, if you will. That's a a term people use when it talks about when someone's attacking you. You kind of check them and say, hey, this is what's going on, blah, 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 whatever. He didn't do any of those things. In fact, he became very defensive. I just don't know if he's in the right place mentally. Maybe he's exhausted. Maybe he's still getting over the whole COVID thing. I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't be doing all the traveling and rallies that he's doing. Because, honestly, it might help him. I'm not saying it won't for him to make all these rallies to Florida and wherever he's been lately. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll help. For his sake, I hope it does. He's the fact that he's putting himself through all this. I hope that he gets something out of this, some net benefit, right? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, both of those town halls were ridiculously bad. And again, for the opposite reasons. One was bad because it was not a town hall. It was literally an interview / attack. And the other one wasn't a town hall because he wasn't being asked any serious questions. And even if he was even asked a slightly serious question, he wasn't pressed on it in any way, shape, or form. So it's just sad, just embarrassing, really, for everyone involved. So thank God that's over. Well, let's talk real quick what would have happened, right? So Steve Scully, who worked for C-SPAN, and I say who worked for C-SPAN, because even though he hasn't been fired officially yet, he's all but fired. Because when a journalist lies blatantly, bold-faced like that, they're not going to have a job much longer. Maybe he can redeem himself a few years down the road with a different network. Maybe CNN will give him a job. But yeah, it's pretty bad. For those of you who did not hear, he had been accused of cooperating, if you will, with former White House friend Anthony Scaramucci, who's now basically a leftist and turned tail, even though he's still pretending to be a Republican. I love when people do that. Like, I don't care if you switch sides because I don't like the left or the right. I just don't. But don't pretend to be something that you're not. That's just embarrassing. Everyone knows you're not. They can see it as clear as day. Even people in your own quote unquote party laugh at you because you're a joke, right? Just admit that you switch sides, which is fine if you want to do that. That's, as far as I'm concerned, they're the same damn party. They're just two sides of the same coin. But so anyways, he was good friends apparently with Steve Scully, and Steve Scully had reached out to him on Twitter and was asking him for some advice about how to handle Trump for the upcoming debate. And yeah, he got caught saying some things and asking things that he shouldn't be doing, and completely lied about it. Said, oh, I got hacked and I had nothing to do with this, and I don't know. And then once the FBI did a 5-minute investigation, said, yeah, no, these things were sent from your home IP address. We know exactly this was you. And he completely came forward and admitted to everything. And he's just a liar now. It's all he's ever going to be. Which is sad because I don't know the guy. Maybe he isn't that, maybe he's an okay guy. Maybe he made a poor choice. I don't know. Maybe he just thought he wasn't going to get caught. I don't know. So I feel slightly bad for him. And I hope that, I believe in redeeming. So hopefully in a year, 2 years, 3 years, he's able to, get himself back on the straight and narrow and get a good job somewhere and, provide for his family, or maybe, do something else. I don't know. But hopefully, it doesn't hurt him long term. Because all joking aside, he is, he's a human being. He's an American. I'm sure he's got responsibilities. He needs money. He needs to work. And because let's face it, living in D.C. in that area is expensive. It's like pretty much as expensive as New York. Pretty much. And the problem is that D.C. is even smaller. Like there's less housing. So housing is ridiculously expensive, so on and so forth. So yeah, again, I hope he learns from his mistakes and moves forward. But yeah, so he's out. But he was out anyways because they already canceled the second debate. But had they not canceled the second debate, I wonder what would have happened. Think about it. Like, what would have happened had they been all set to do the debate, and then the day of, he gets more or less canned from C-SPAN for lying after an investigation is done. That would have been, oh my God. So I guess we avoided that headache. But again, we didn't because we all know about it. So I guess we kind of avoided it, but not really. I don't know. Moving forward, as an objective hater of both the left and the right, like I've said already here tonight, as well as I've said several times in the past, I can assure you TDS is real. I watch it all the time. Now, for those of you who do not know what the acronym TDS stands for, it's Trump Deranged Syndrome. And I have many friends who are on the left who are literally crawling the walls right now. I don't even know what's going through their head. I have relatives threatening on moving out of the country, just like they did in 2016, down by other people like celebrities, like Bette Midler and all those crazies. They're like, well, if he wins, I'll move another country. Well, he won. They didn't move anywhere, but now they're already starting to say it again. Bruce Springsteen just said it yesterday or today, but I'm on the first plane to Australia if if Trump wins. So from that, I kind of like to see Trump win just because of that. Just like to see if everyone's actually gonna, hold their word and say, "Oh, I'm leaving the country. Bye." That's the libertarian in me. I just think it'd be fucking hysterical because I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I'm not voting for Trump in 2020. Definitely not voting for Biden. Yeah. So. Yeah, I just see so many people. I mean, and again, we're 18 days away and people are insane. Literally, it's so sad. People are just, so many people text me and they're like, I can't sleep at night. I can't eat. I'm like, whoa, what's wrong? Are you okay? Did you get some bad news from the doctor or did whoever lose their job? No. I'm just worried about the election. That's sad. See, and I'm going to give you a little public service announcement, a little PSA here, okay? A lot of people don't know much about libertarians. And if you want to learn more, you can always watch my Saturday show. It's called The Libertarian Hour. I do it almost every Saturday. Actually, I'm probably going to do it tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you see this, check it out. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you will know when we're going live or just watch it on replay when you get a chance. That way you get the best of both worlds. But when it comes to libertarians, people think that libertarians are just no good, very bad people who just are selfish and hate everyone. We don't. It's the exact opposite. We're not selfish. We want everyone to be happy. We want everyone to be healthy. We want everyone to have a chance to survive and thrive and everything else in this great country of ours. But at the end of the day, we also understand that our founding fathers were very intelligent when it came to designing and laying out the foundation, the base, if you will, of our country. Because the whole point of a government is that a government was not supposed to be so big that it would control every aspect of your life. And what did we do with it? We let it control every single aspect of our lives. So what we need to do is shrink government and get government the hell out of our business, right? As a libertarian, we understand that the presidency shouldn't even matter who wins or loses, because the president's responsibility and abilities and influence should be so minute, so tiny, so minuscule, that no matter what they do, it's not going to affect your everyday life. And that's the country we need to get back to. That's the country we started out at. It's a country we've gone far away from, but that's the government we need to get back to. So if you want to know more about that, come check out my show. Like I said, tomorrow will be a good time to do it. I think I'm just going to have a little... lately, I did a 10-part series called Myths and Misunderstandings within the Libertarian Party. But I finished that series, and then we just touched very, very, very lightly on the surface of some of the main topics, just economic topics, crime topics, the war on drugs, gun ownership, that sort of stuff. We just dipped our toe. We just dabbled a little bit in there just to kind of give you a general idea of what we've been doing, why it's wrong, and what libertarians believe we can do to make things better. But I think tomorrow, maybe the next couple of weeks, because I have some interviews set up, but I haven't done it yet. So I think I'm just gonna do tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna have a kind of like this episode where it's the regular podcast. I'm gonna pick some topics to talk about, and we're gonna learn a little bit. Yeah. So let's do that. So if you want to check it out tomorrow, please do by all means. It'll be 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, or you can watch it on replay whenever you want. But check it out. I think you'll learn something. But yeah, again, as an objective, well, I say hater. I'm not really a hater. I don't hate the left and the right. I feel bad for them because I look at how they live their lives. I look at the way that they feel like they have to be, and it's just like, man, you're just making your life miserable for no reason. And it doesn't make any difference on the left or the right. Just you stress too much about it. You make too much of a big deal of it, and now look at what it's doing to everyone else. But especially the left right now. I mean, I know the right's nervous, and they should be, but the left, man, there's just so much delusion going through the minds and the hearts of these people. So just take a break, man. Turn off your phone. Don't go on CNN. Don't watch the news tonight. Don't watch any rallies. Don't go on Twitter for a day or two. Give yourself a break. You need it, because TDS is real, and I don't like the way it's affecting your life. because I care about you. I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're on the right. You're my fellow American, and you're a human being, and I'm sure you're probably a pretty good human being. Most people are. I mean, we're also all shitty human beings. I'll give you that. Everyone's capable of both. But just that point, everyone's capable of both, meaning you're capable of being good. And so is a person across the fence or across the aisle that you don't agree with. They're capable of being good. Chances are they are. In fact, I have seen a couple of videos lately of people on the left and the right who are friends or even siblings, and they can disagree on everything politically, but they can still be friends, or they can still be brothers or what have you, right? You can do it too. Reach out to someone you know who's on the other side. Don't have to have initially a political conversation, but you know it's going to get political. We're 18 days away from the fucking election. It's going to get political. This is literally one of, if not the biggest election probably in the last 100 years. Which a lot of people say, well, you can't say that. You have no idea what it was to be like in the 20s and 30s of 1900s. It was shitty. We had the Great Depression. We had world wars. No doubt, completely different from the election part of it. The country part, the world part sucked. Election was bad. But we have gotten ourselves so, well, I shouldn't say that. We've allowed politics to become so intertwined with every single aspect of our life. And that's on us, right? We've allowed that to happen. I know I'm a little bit younger, and you might even be younger than me. And it's not like I don't take personal responsibility for it, but I haven't spent enough of my life voicing my opinion like I am now, telling you, you can change this, I can change this, we can change this together. And it doesn't make a difference if I'm Libertarian and you're Republican or you're Democrat. It doesn't matter. We can all work together to get the power out of the hands of these insane politicians, right? You look at lifelong politicians. You look at Joe Biden. He's been in office for 47 years. And he doesn't have a great track record for 47 years. Nancy Pelosi's been there for over 3 decades. And I'm sure you could literally put all the pictures of anybody from either party in anywhere of Congress, Senate, or the House, put them up on the wall, throw a dirt, and chances are you're going to find someone who's been there for more than a decade, maybe even 2. It's ridiculous. So let's get the power out of politics and put the power back in our own hands. That's what we need to do. Moving forward right quick. So everyone keeps talking about this October surprise, What's it going to be? Is it anything? Is it nothing more than an October myth? I think so. I don't think there ever was an October surprise. Everyone kept making these empty promises and this whole QAnon thing, I think, which is a whole nother podcast in itself. I'm not going to even, I'm even uncan that can of worms. Yeah, but it's ridiculous. I think it's just nothing. I just think it's something that someone put out there, and just to create excitement, like we didn't have enough excitement already. So I think an October surprise is just that. It's an October myth. Nothing else. Just a myth. It's all it's going to be. It's all it's ever going to be. That being said, we're going to hop right over to it, my friends. Today, or I should say finally, sort of, it's time for today's edition of Happy Ending. So what is our happy ending going to be for today? Now, before we used to show a lot of videos, and I'm still going to show some videos from time here and there when I find one that's absolutely amazing and I just can't pass it up. But YouTube is a pain in the ass when it comes to playing that kind of stuff. So I don't want to get any copyright strikes or anything against me. But I am going to show you this because I find it very interesting. It says, New Fix-It Clinic is using Zoom and global community to help you repair items for free. Now, this to me is what humanity is all about, right? And you can talk about humanity as, when there's a huge catastrophe, and something like Katrina back in the early 2000s, where people came together and they didn't care what color you were, what gender you were, what religion you were, anything. They didn't care about anything. They wanted to help you, right? And that happens in extreme times. 9/11 was that type of thing. Corona could have been that type of thing, but we just shed on it instead. But this is a perfect example of how good humanity can be. So New Fix-It Clinic is using Zoom and global community to help you repair items for free. What this whole article was about is literally people doing good, helping others, being like, okay, well, you can submit problems that you might have with small appliances, things you can't fix, things you don't know, and you don't have the money and you can't reach out and you can't do anything. Well, you put out here, all of a sudden, oh yeah, I can help you fix a toaster. And they go have a Zoom meeting and they fix a toaster together. Saves you money, gets you something working. Right? Because this is the day and age where we need to do that sort of thing now. We need to reach out for each other. We need to be there for each other. This is a wonderful opportunity. So maybe you can do the same thing. Maybe you can reach out to your friends on Facebook or Twitter, or whatever you have, and be like, hey, I'm really good at working on cars. Now, I can't come out to your house and fix your car, but if you have a problem with it, hit me up and then we can see if we can figure out what it is. And maybe I can help walk you through how to fix it or whatever it might be, right? Maybe you're a terrible cook and you need help cooking and you're single and you don't know anyone who can help you and you don't have money to go out and eat, right? So maybe you can find someone to help you learn how to cook. Just an idea, just a thought, just a potential thing to be happy about, right? So before we leave, I do want to say that's all for today, folks. That's all for this week, really. And I hope you have a great weekend. I'm serious. I hope you watching this right now have an absolutely amazing weekend. I hope wonderful things happen to you. I hope incredible surprises happen to you. And I hope that you are able to get an extra hour of sleep every single day. You wake up well rested. Maybe you make a new friend. Maybe you repair an old relationship. Maybe you get some good news. I don't know what it is, but I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And I hope that you can join us tomorrow. Hopefully you will, if you can, of course. And if you can't, that's okay too. You can always watch us on replay. Otherwise, we're going to be right back here on Monday evening, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And we're here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Next Wednesday, we'll be doing the Talking Sports with Kevin and Mikey. And I'm probably going to do a Talk on Politics sometime next week as well. But that's it for today. Again, hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and we will see you all next week. Bye.